out there in social media world, my YouTube followers, subscribers. It's me, Kiwani, and Mr. Murray, and we're here today to do our mouth muscle with Team Murray. And he over there cheesing like a fat rat. I don't know why, but he's cheesing like a little fat rat. But anyway, we're here to talk to you guys today about
line cut me off.
what?
That line cut me off.
No, what line? No, no, that's, oh my God, y'all, he acting crazy.
Okay.
But anyway, we're here today because we want to, I know a lot of people who watch these videos and people who just know us assume for whatever reason that we have like this perfect marriage, this perfect relationship. Nothing ever goes wrong with us. We're always on the same page. And I'm here to tell you guys today that that is definitely not the case. That is not true. Mr. Murray and I do have disagreements. And one of the biggest things that we differ in is how we communicate with each other. Now, we get in front of this here little camera when we're doing the mouth muscles, and we tend to try to bring it to you guys as pleasant as possible. But there are times when our communicating is not the same. We don't communicate the same. We don't view communication the same. We don't view effective communication the same. See, he over there making faces now because he said I be talking too much and that I be wanting to take over the conversation. So today we're going to have a conversation about how we communicate with each other. Right?
I never said nothing. You said nothing. Face. I wasn't making no face.
It looked like he was making a face, like he was like, you know, like that. You want to do that? Okay. All right, so when we're talking about us communicating and we talk about the difference in how we communicate, you tend to think that when we're communicating, I am very aggressive or very harsh. You say that I'm always yelling, although I don't think that I'm always yelling. So why are you always accusing me of yelling?
It's not accusing. It's factual. What it is that most of the times when you don't want to hear opposing views from me, you'll start. You go like I tell you to 10, or you know, or you'll take over the conversation. And like I told you and have stated many times, I'll never portray that I'm always right. Now, I probably am right in what I think, and what I think may not be right. But you have to create a space, as I try to do, to be heard. You know, if you don't hear a person, then how you know what they come up with? And don't be, and sometimes you be at the point where you just jump and say, you know, because I'll probably say something like, I did take out the garbage. No, you didn't. You didn't take out the garbage. The garbage is still right there. You see that garbage right there is about to fall off it. You'll read that thing, and I'll be like, okay, well, you know, in the rush to get out of here this morning, I thought I took out the garbage, but it's not nothing, you know, major that you got to go to 10 about because I forgot to take out the garbage.
Okay, but I don't always come to you on 10. Usually when I'm talking to you or when I come to you to try to have a conversation or to bring up something to you about something that I've noticed or something that I disagree with or something how, you know, if I'm feeling a particular way, I usually come to you in a very nice little tone. I'm usually very sweet. I usually come to you and say, okay, babe, I usually will either, if it's something that I know we disagree on, I'll even come to you with a disclaimer. Okay, babe, I know that, you know, you're probably going to take this such and such a way, but I'm letting you know up front that I'm just expressing how I feel and I'm sharing something with you because, you know, whatever it is. And then I'm saying, babe, I call you babe, I'm being nice. I got this, I'm using my library voice. I'm using a tone that is not harsh or negative. And then you'll take, especially when we're talking about how I feel. If I'm sharing something with you about how I feel, now when we're talking about how you feel, I usually give you that. Okay, that's how you feel. Okay, and I'll accept that's how you feel, and I might share with you something else. But as soon as I tell you how I feel, you automatically go into
Now look what you just said. You was saying, okay, I understand how you feel, but then you just said, I'll share something else.
I'll accept it though. If you
Right.
tell me you feel a certain way, I accept that that's how you feel. And then in turn, I want to share with you how I feel. It's not to say your feelings are invalid or that I did not accept how you feel. But whenever I tell you how I feel, you
But it-
immediately try to invalidate how I feel.
No, it's just the same thing. I hear how you feel, but then in turn try to share with you opposing viewpoints to tell you that most of the times how you feel is not the way it is. I'm not neglecting how you feel. I'm not shunning how you feel. I'm just telling you that's not how it is. That's not the perception. That's not what it is. Or that's not the way, because I'm not in this business to hurt, tear down, destroy my wife at no, I mean, no, not at all. But just like I feel sometimes you have feelings, so do I. Just like you have viewpoints, so do I. Just like your viewpoints ain't always right, neither is all of mine. So, you know,
And I give you that.
it doesn't warrant, let's go to 10, because, and you probably haven't noticed this by now, but since you know me, when anybody in any situation go to yelling and screaming, I shut down. I don't hear nothing you saying. As far as I'm concerned, you just making a bunch of noise and rhetoric because I just, again, and I'm not saying that's right. I'm not, I'm just saying I don't think it should warrant somebody being yelled and screamed at because, again, then I take on the idea, and I tell you this all the time. It's like you trying to scold me. And I'm not scoldable.
But it's not about scolding you. What I need you to help me understand why you don't, why is it so hard for you to allow other people to have feelings? Like, you think your feelings are valid and that how you feel needs to be addressed. You should, people have to listen to you when they're telling you how, when you're telling them how you feel, and you expect a reaction or something to change based on how you feel. But when other people, me, tell you how I feel, you start telling me why I shouldn't feel that way, why, you know, it's in, that ain't how it is. No, that's not what I said, that's not, and it's not that you can't tell me how to feel. That's what I'm trying to get you to understand when we're talking.
I never
It's
said,
like,
I never
this
said,
is, see,
I
you're not
never-
even letting me finish expressing myself.
No, I'm saying I never said the way, like, for example,
do.
I can't tell you if your stomach hurt. I can't tell you because I'm not
Okay,
saying
but we're not talking about our physical body.
But no, I'm
You
just
can't-
using it for the
you can't-
analogy to show, to bring a point.
Okay.
I can't tell you your stomach is hurting or not. If you tell me your stomach is hurting, I just have to take, and all I tell you is why don't you go take some Pepto-Bismol or whatever to help. And that's all I'll be trying to tell you. The way sometimes you feel is not the reality of what it really is.
It may not be, but if you're doing things that make me feel that way, instead of telling me that's not the reality, why can't you ever just say, okay, babe, I'm sorry I made you feel that way. That wasn't my intent, and okay, I'll do better. No, you never do that. You always want to try to tell me that I should not feel the way that I feel. Like, you can't tell me
No,
how
again,
to feel.
Again, there you go with the perception, because I've said that to you several times, okay?
You said what?
That's not what it is. I apologize if that's how I made you feel. I've said that.
But are you hearing, you gotta be careful with what you say. Are you hearing what you're saying? You're saying that's not what it is. That's not what I, and okay, even if that wasn't what it is, I'm expressing to you that it's how it made me feel.
And I'm telling.
And you should say, okay, babe, I'm sorry I made you feel that way. I never can get that apology for making me feel a certain type of way. You always try to invalidate the feelings, like by saying you shouldn't feel like that because that's not what it is. That's two different things. Do you understand that? That's two different things?
But But again, you can't.
Once you've made me
you
feel
can't-
that way,
you
you
can't-
can't try to take it back and say,
But
no,
Lonnie-
you don't feel like that, because that ain't what it is.
You can't script me to say what you want to say and how you want it to be said, just like I can't do that as well. However, the ideal is to get an understanding, to say, okay, I understand what she's saying, I understand what he's saying, and come to some, but if I don't say it scripted the way you want it, then you just still go to 10, because it still ain't gonna matter.
No, it's not that.
Because you
You're
just
not hearing
said,
me.
you
You're
just
not hearing
said,
me.
you should say that's not how it is.
I asked you, why don't you ever say that? When I come to you and I'm saying that, babe, you know, you did X, Y, Z, and you made me feel like, or that hurt my feelings because whatever, you immediately go into telling me, well, that's not what it was.
No,
You
no.
shouldn't even feel like that.
Okay,
What?
but
Why
stop,
would you?
stop right there, because look how you giving the extra dramatics.
Well,
I
you
never,
might.
I don't do all that. I don't
See,
do all that.
you might not do the dramatics, but
But-
that's what you're saying.
but-
That's
but-
what I'm seeing.
But
when
that's, and again, that's you adding that caveat, that's not there. If I say to you, dear, that's not what it is.
you don't say no, dear. That's
Oh, I
not what
said,
it is.
Wanda,
You always
that's not
try to
what it
make it
is.
seem like
I
you said
said-
it so nice. You ain't
I
saying
said,
be
Wanda,
nice all the time.
I said, Wanda, that's not what it is, but I can't help how you feel, but that's not the way it is. That's not what I meant to be.
Where is the apology for making me feel that way?
I've apologized to,
You apologize after I get mad and go to 10 because
Which
you're
is-
trying to invalidate my feelings. And then when
Which-
I get in that, then it's like, okay, now you're apologizing. Why can't you apologize when I'm telling you that you did something that made me feel a certain type of way?
Because at the same token, number one, that's not how I'm cut. That's not the way I'm made up. Now, I'm not going to invalidate and walk over and disregard your feelings. But in the midst of being accused of something, because that's basically what it is. That's what it boils down to. That you're accusing me of something.
How am I?
You're not listening. I can tell you, dear, that's not the way it is. And if I made you feel that way, I've said that to you. I apologize, but that's not the way it is.
But you say that only after I have tried to get you to understand it over and over and over, and now I'm angry because I feel like
But-
you're just taking what I'm saying and it's going in one
But
ear and out
again-
the other, and you're making it feel as if I don't have the right
But
to
again,
feel a certain way.
I can't tell you how to feel, where to feel.
You
with
can't. You absolutely can't.
So if I'm telling you that's not the way how it is, what more can I do? What else? I mean, and that's when I go into, do you take into consideration my emotions and feelings? Because if I'm telling you that's not how it is, if I'm telling you I don't want to, disagree or argue, you don't take that,
because I-
and then
listen.
that's when I be like, okay, I ain't hearing you because
No.
you want to come at me.
No.
And so let's just talk about it.
No,
and then
because you have this tendency of thinking that whenever you're talking to me, that you said it in this nice, sweet, honeydew way, and that I just blew up. And that
Most of
is
the
not,
time,
no,
9 times
no,
out of 10, yes it is.
no,
9
I
times out-
disagree.
I know, but see
I
that
dis- because you don't hear yourself.
But do you hear yourself?
I do, and I know that I've gone to 10, but I
Is
always
it-
start
Is there
off.
a reason for going to 10?
Yes.
Just because somebody don't agree with you in any arena of life, there's no reason for nobody.
It's not about
there's,
you.
There's not no need to scold nobody, yell and scream at people, because you're not gonna get nowhere with nobody. And that's all I'm trying to tell you. You can disagree, we can talk, we can be amicable, and probably still don't come up with a good solution. But in the end, at least we was able to talk about it, or we may be able to come up with a reasonable, workable situation. But if you always, and that's the biggest pet peeve, if you're always yelling and screaming and then doing all of this, and I ain't hearing all of that.
But
I'm not, I mean, that's anybody. It ain't just you, anybody.
Okay.
That if they want to talk to me, let's talk.
But listen, Jeff Murray, when I come to you to discuss things, I'm not on 10.
Most of the time you are.
No, oh my God. So I just wake up and come talk to you and just start off on 10? Is that what you're saying?
Listen. You didn't do this, and I'm like, okay, well, hold on, because if I did that in reversal,
my
if I did that
God.
with the reversal, we wouldn't go nowhere. You'll be in your feelings all the time about stuff. You would, yes,
Okay.
you would, yes, you would.
No. I'm not saying. I just I beg to differ when it comes
And
to
that-
that
and-
approach.
And that's fine, because even, I mean, that's cool, because that's what I said, I understand what you're saying, and you understand what I'm saying, and we may not agree with that, and that's cool. That's all I'm saying.
No,
Even-
but I
even
don't
just now-
like, I don't
But
like.
even just now, you just proved my point. We can disagree to, we can agree to be disagreeable, so
No,
that's
no, no,
cool.
but you make it very difficult to talk to you when you tell me. I don't like when you use those words like always and I always do this or I never do this, or when you say 9 times out of 10, you're make that
You
gives
just,
the
honey, you
that
just said it
gives
to
the
me. You just say, you never come into, you make my feelings invalidate. And I'm like, no, I don't.
no.
I can't tell you how to feel, but that's not the way I'm trying to do it. And I've said to you, and that's what I'm saying, I don't get that from you, but I'll come and say, I apologize if that's how you feel, but that's not the way it is. Have I not said that?
You have said it, babe, but listen, you usually say it after our discussion has gotten so heated and that I'm so angry that now I'm shutting down and I don't even care to talk to you no more. And then that's when you'll come back and you'll say, well, I apologize, for making you feel like this or for doing X, Y, and Z. But what I'm saying, trying to get you to understand that is if you would give me that initially, like in the beginning, a lot of our conversations, I wouldn't, our discussions or when I'm expressing something, I wouldn't have to go to Tina because you gave it to me in the up front. And now we can have a discussion about it that doesn't have to, because I got you to understand that something you said or did made me feel a certain way.
But let's flip the script. Do you give me that to understand? Like I try to tell you, some stuff you keep going, and it becomes I don't want to say annoying, but it's aggravating when I'm like, that ain't it. That ain't the way it should be. That ain't what I'm trying to say. I'm not saying, and I've told you this 1,000,001 times. I'm not too big to say I'm sorry. I'm not right all the time. I do a lot wrong, but it's not my intentions on to do wrong or the intentions to be wrong. But you'll just take stuff to 10 and go, and I'm like, here this woman go again.
Listen, I understand what you're saying, but I go to 10 because you lead me there. I do not get up in the morning and just say, today I'm gonna go to 10 with my husband. I'm gonna fuss with him about everything. I'm gonna have an attitude as soon as he says something to me. Or I don't wake up in the morning and start my day off by saying, okay, well, I'm gonna try to share this with him, and as soon as he rebuts it, I'm gonna scream and yell and go to 10.
That's how you feel, right?
That's how I don't.
No, I'm
So
asking
you're
for-
saying I wake up in the mornings
no,
like that?
I'm just trying to prove a point. That's how you feel, right?
That's how I feel.
Okay, now you can't tell me that, just like you said, I can't tell you how to feel. Sometimes I might feel like this, you just walk around here just getting ready to be mad about something that it don't matter what I do. It don't matter what I do or say, and I'm not saying I'm the best at it.
Give me an example.
I'm not saying I'm the best at it, but there's not a time or a day that I don't put my family first, I don't put you first. There's not a time. But you may feel as though, oh, you don't put me first, and I'm like, well, I feel like you don't put me first. So then you'll go to 10 on everything and every say, and I'm like,
Give me an example. Give me an example. Do you have an example of something?
today I don't, but I'm pretty sure something is gonna peek his head up.
But see, that's why I'm saying, just like you just said today, you don't have an example. You can't give an example of anything that, but I can give an example every day. I can give you an example of something you've said or done, and just like I explained to you before, just because I don't mention it right then, it's because I'm trying to figure out a way. You may do something like, for example, maybe you did something yesterday or the day before. And at that moment, I did not bring it to your attention because I wanted to make sure that when I brought it to your attention, I was bringing it in a way that I wasn't angry or I wasn't hostile or I wasn't on 10. So it's like, okay, I ain't gonna say nothing right now. Let me meditate on this. Let me think about it for a minute. Let me figure out what's the best way to communicate this to him so that he understands that what he said or did caused me to feel this way. So I don't always say it right then. But then when I do finally figure it out, like, okay, hopefully I can go to him like this, and I'll be able to express it and explain to him what he said or what he did or how something, his actions made me feel a certain way. And as soon as I come to you and bring it to you, I end up on 10 anyway because you immediately try to make me feel like I had no right to feel that way. Are you understanding what I'm saying?
That's your interpretation of it, Wani, but like I said, no matter how I tell you it, if I put it on billboards or if I write it on, I can come and say that was not my intent or I didn't mean to, or you'll take that as I'm trying to invalidate your feelings. And I'm like, okay, so what can I say? Because she's going to feel like I'm invalidated and I'm trying to let her know that wasn't how I meant to do it, or that wasn't the intent. But
and you're still not getting it. And I think that's where we have this breakdown.
I don't think it's that I'm not getting it. It's just that you're not hearing me. If I'm trying to tell you that's not the intentions or how I was trying to make you feel.
Can somebody please help us, because I don't know if you guys can hear what he's saying and what I'm saying and differentiate between him trying to express how he's feeling and me trying to express how I'm feeling. What I'm saying to you, dear, is when you cannot take when I come to you, like when you have something going on or I've done something to you or said something to you that bothered you, you'll come to me and bring it to me and we address it right then, we deal with it right then. I usually listen to what you're saying and I try to, okay, I made him feel or he said or whatever. And some stuff I just take it like, okay, I'm just gonna have to, whatever, and I'll just say okay, and we'll have some little exchange about it and it's over. I never take that opportunity when you're coming to me to tell me about your stuff to turn it around and make it about my stuff. Because at that moment, it wasn't about my stuff, it was about your stuff. You brought your stuff to me, so I have to let this be about your stuff. But when I do that, when I come to you to bring you my stuff and to say, babe, this made me feel like this, or you immediately turn it around and make it out to be your stuff. You start trying to tell me I shouldn't feel this right. You don't have the right to feel like that. That ain't what it is. Well, that's you making that up in your brain and you doing this and you doing that. And then you start telling me about what I did to you. You start telling me about your feelings. So now instead of us having a discussion about my feelings and something you said or did to me, now we're discussing your feelings. Now we're discussing what I did to you, or you start bringing up all these things, and I'm saying, but it ain't about you, because I came to you about how you made me feel. So this is my time. This is my stuff. We're dealing with my stuff, and at that moment, I'm expecting you to say, okay, I did not intend to make you feel that way, and I apologize for making you feel that way. It's not that I'm giving you a script. I'm just telling you that if we were to deal with my stuff first, I wouldn't be going to 10. But what makes me mad is that you take my stuff and turn it into your stuff. Because when I say, well, Jeff, you made me feel like this because you did X, Y, Z, you'll say, well, you that's you making stuff up in your head. What about when you make me feel like, so now it ain't about me no more. It's about you. Well, what about when you said this to me? Now it's not about my stuff. It's about you.
Again, I don't do all those antics and all that.
You don't do the antics, but I'm trying to just explain to you how it makes me feel when you do that. And this is why I'm going to 10.
There's no full justification for 10. Because just like you want to be heard and received, I want to be heard and received.
But you can't take my time and make it yours. You can't take the discussion that started out about how I feel and wanting to address how I feel and make it about your feelings, because we're not talking about your feelings. If I didn't come to you and bring my issue to you, will we be talking about your feelings? No. At the time, you didn't have an issue. But as soon as I bring my stuff
That's not the case. A lot of times I just don't mention it because
well, how are we going to work out this communication issue? Because obviously there is
one is listening, because I know just 2 times. I want y'all to just know there's twice she cut me off and I didn't say nothing.
You cut me off all the time.
And so I just roll with it. One, all of these antics and dramatics and all of that don't work with nobody, and that's what I'm trying to get you to understand. And then number 2, I want you to sometimes and I don't want to use him as an example, but I am. There's different ways that you can understand Isaiah better than many other people can because of his disability. So sometimes you have to understand your husband in some of his ways, just like I have to understand you in your ways, that sometimes what you see is not what he is. And that's what I be trying to get you to see. If you could see that it past how you may feel or what you think, it's not really what it is. And that's why sometimes I tell you, why are you making that stuff up in your mind? Your mind is getting the best of you because it's not what it is. It's not, that's not that, you know. And I want you to understand that. And then even still, when I come back and say, well, you know, it's not that, I'm not trying to invalidate your feelings. What I'm trying to do is let you know, I understand how you feel, I see it, but I'm letting you know on the other side of that, that's not the reality of what it really is. And if that's how I made you feel, I've said that several times, I apologize.
Again.
You'll be hiring.
Because you only say you apologize after I keep explaining it and you keep telling me, no, that ain't the, you know, that's not how it is. You making that up in your head, and I'm saying, but Jeff,
that's
if
not
you
how I
keep
said
doing,
that's not how we
see,
respond to you. And you know that.
you
well.
always want to act like you said
One-
it's so sweet butter. You
One-
buttered the bread
One,
and
I
made
don't-
it sugar. You
I don't-
sugar sweeted it.
You
honey,
could-
the honey
You
bunny
can say
did.
it out
You
of
did.
10
You do not.
times.
You
I'm
do
using
not.
number 10.
You do not.
I probably went to 10 and yelled and screamed maybe 6 of those because you were yelling and screaming.
But it's not about you yelling and screaming.
That's what it is.
No,
because
it's not.
Communication. If you're
Oh,
yelling and screaming,
my.
I'm not hearing you.
Okay, but listen. Sometimes it's not about yelling and screaming, but it's still there's still a tone when you're talking. You don't have to be yelling up here. Your octane ain't gotta be way up here, but there could be a tone that you're using down here. You could be very condescending sometimes. You could be very sometimes. You don't have to be yelling for the tone to not be right. You'll be talking to me sometimes and you're using a tone or the body language that says just what I'm upset about, that you're invalidating how I feel. And that is what bothers me. It's not, you don't have to be yelling. You think if you, so the only time people are at 10 is when they're yelling, or the only time there's a
You're not-
miscommunication
but
is
here-
when people are yelling.
But hear what you
The
just
difference
said.
is I yell
But
and
see-
you use this language that's
But
so,
here-
like you're trying to say people are beneath you.
Hear what you're saying. I've told you this, and you know this since day one, and you haven't yet mastered this. We can have disagreements. They're gonna happen.
I agree.
But then when you go to yelling, I'm not hearing. This is anybody. This is on my job. It could be the neighbors. It could be my family. If they yell, you just crunching. I'm not hearing nothing you're saying. But if you want to talk to me, let's sit down and talk. Let's disagree.
Okay.
Let's work it out.
Well,
But we can't work that now. I can't. If you yelling and screaming at me, and then it puts me in a posture that I'm beneath me, that you scolded me, that I'm some little boy or peasant. I've done told you that several times. You can't, not me. So yeah, if you do that, then yeah, I'm gonna act like, okay, you beneath me.
Okay.
I'm not hearing you because I don't want that. I don't yell and scream unless it's just unbearable, and I'm like, I can't get through to you because I done told you, and you done just, and this is where it comes to my feelings, because everything be based upon your feelings. But I'm telling you, you disregard how I feel when I'm telling you, dear, that's not how it is. I apologize if that's not what, and then you keep going on and going on and going on. So now you done said, the hell with what you saying. I don't care. I'm gonna just tell you how I feel, and you're gonna understand how I feel. All right, let's go.
well, that's, to me, I think that, because you say, when people start yelling, you don't hear nothing, you don't want to talk about it, you know, you don't get that, you ain't with that. And when I'm being quiet, cause I need to think before I speak, to keep it from becoming a heated debate, then you give me attitude because you say I'm walking around not talking to you. When I'm not walking around not talking to you, what I'm doing is I'm allowing the situation to simmer down, and I'm thinking so that before I say anything, I will have thought it through. So whatever I say, hopefully it will come out in such a way that you'll receive it, as opposed to me just saying it right that minute. So yeah, I'm quiet. I'm in a mode of, let me be quiet and think this thing out before I, stir this pot, and it just becomes even more of a heated debate. But then when I do that, now it's a problem because I'm walking around not talking to you. Oh, you ain't said nothing to me. You're not talking to me. You know, da da da. And I'm saying, so how do I win? Because you don't want me to be quiet, but you also don't want to hear what I'm telling you. Because when I express how I feel, then it always becomes a conversation about your feelings.
The
And I'm
Bible
not
says,
understanding that.
the Bible says, an idle mind is the devil's workshop.
It ain't idle. I'm thinking.
So you probably
Just
need,
because I'm being quiet, I'm being.
No.
It's an idle man. It's not idle.
see, family, she not
I'm
even
just saying.
She not even listening. So how can I get 2 words in? You have to learn the art of listening as well as being able to have something to say. You can't control every conversation. I done told you that a gazillion times. You can't control every conversation. You got to listen sometimes, just like I have to listen. You got to be able to express yourself just like I can express myself.
Oh, baby, you something else.
I mean to say, I haven't said that to you before.
You have, but
Okay.
you're expecting something out of me that you're not willing to give.
I
You
did
don't-
because you don't
always-
talk to me. This the most you don't talk to me without yelling and screaming, and that's only because we on this video.
Y'all see how accusatory he is? So now you're saying I can't have a conversation with you without yelling. I always attempt to have a conversation with you without
Attempt,
yelling.
but
I
then
do.
2 seconds in, you yelling and screaming, or you just you want to take over the conversation and say everything you got to say, but don't hear nothing else. Now, am I making that up? Please tell me. I'm
I
making-
believe so.
Okay.
I believe so.
Okay.
I just refuse to believe that I walk around all day yelling and screaming about everything. I just do not see me
When it
doing
comes
that
to
when I
me.
love being my peace and quiet and having a peace of mind. I'm not yelling and screaming, and no day do I wake up and say I'm going to have an argument with my husband today. No day do I do that. I want our days to be peaceful. However, when I attempt to come to you in peace, anything where I'm expressing my feelings about something, it never goes well, and I'm trying to understand why is that.
It's not
Why?
that. I could tell
We
you.
could discuss any and everything else. We could talk about whatever, and it never gets heated. We can, we agree to disagree on the things that we agree to disagree on, politics, house stuff, funds, whatever. But when it comes to us having a discussion about you making me feel a certain way, it always ends in a very heated debate, because when we finish talking, we're no longer talking about my feelings, and we have not addressed my feelings, but now we're talking about your feelings. That always happens 100% of the time.
And that only happens because in the process, what I'm trying to tell you is, and I've addressed your feelings, you just don't, what I'm addressing, you don't want to hear. I could tell you 100 times, 1,000 times, dear, that's not what it is. I apologize if that's how you feel. That ain't what that wasn't my intentions. Whatever, and you still will keep going on as if that ain't good enough.
Again, because you're usually doing it after the fact, and
So
the part B, wait.
Hold on, no wait. When do it just you take the apology? If I go to God and say, God,
Okay.
forgive me for my sins, He ain't gonna tell me, no, Jeff, you come to me not after the fact. Once I ask Him to forgive me, I'm forgiven.
Okay, but the part B to that is when I'm telling you that something you've done makes me feel a certain type of way, usually the behavior stays the same. That's part of the problem. That's part B. Because if I tell you that you're doing this and it's making me feel this way, yeah, we get into this big old heated debate. Yeah, on the back end you'll do the apology, but then you don't change the behavior. You're still doing the same thing that I told you was making me feel a certain type of way before. So how am I supposed to feel? Because it's bringing it back up. It's like you're still doing it.
Again, in that case, you're trying to change something that, and I don't know what it is. All I know, one time I went to the gas station, and I came back and told you then I was depressed.
So you're gonna bring that up?
I'm just showing you. Does that you take one example?
Okay.
I told you I was feeling some kind of way. I apologize if because that was not. This is what I was dealing with. I was in a dark space. You still rolled that and got upset, and then you'll switch and say, "Now I'm making it about my feelings." I'm not saying I'm making it about. I'm explaining to you what was happening, and maybe this is why you felt that way. But
And
you won't even
again,
accept that.
You know why? It's not that I didn't accept it. What I tried to explain to you was there were several actions, several things that led up to that particular day. When you did that day, there were several things that led up to it. So I expressed to you that all of these things are making me feel some type of way.
And
Now you waited until I brought it to you and said that this was how I was feeling, and you said some things back and forth to me about how you feeling, like as if it's not
No,
about. Wait,
no,
wait, wait. Let
no,
me finish because
that's
I listened to you,
no, you did. You cut
and
me
then
off.
you expressed that you were in your space
Yeah.
that day. You were not in a good space and whatever. But if you had have explained to me, that you were just not in a good space, if you had communicated with me, because I'm always asking you, okay, what's wrong? Like, what's going on? I'm always trying to cheer you up. I'm always trying to be supportive. I'm always asking about your schoolwork. I know you're stressing because you're in the doctorate program. I know you're stressing because our bills keep seeming to be going up, 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 and financially it's a strain on you because I'm retired. I know that. And I want my husband to be okay. So I'm always asking you, babe, are you okay? Is there anything, I don't ask you, is there anything that I could be doing to help? I don't ever ask you that.
You just-
So, okay,
I don't-
what,
I don't
when
take away
you
from that.
are feeling like that, it would have been,
Wani, sometimes
if you
have
would have
to-
come to me and just
Wani-
had that conversation, then I wouldn't have been
Wani,
made to feel how I felt.
Sometimes women and relationships understand people communicate different, and it's not to take away from nobody's way of communicating. And this is Jeff Murray, if I'm dealing with something, to avoid me sometimes going off and snapping on other people, sometimes, yes, I will go into a quiet space. But I'm not shutting, just like you say, you trying to figure out a way to say things. I'm trying to figure out, Lord, how can I fix this? How can I work this? You gave me this, you put me here. Me and you got to work this out, God. So I get into my God zones where me and him just talking, because I know it ain't y'all, it ain't nobody else. It's between me and God. We got to work that out. So if I come to you and say, look, that's not, this is what I'm trying to tell you, that's not how it is. That's not the way it is. And sometimes you can't explain it from a male standpoint. You just got to trust that I'm doing what I need to do for my family. You got to, because nothing I do is not putting my family first. Nothing. And so I don't come to you like the whole thing, which is not nothing major, y'all, but the homeowners insurance that got canceled, and that's something that's happening across Florida, period. They jumped up the price. I got to put my hat on to see, because I know you got to fix it. Let me see what I can do. How can I do? And so I'm figuring them stuff out. I'm trying to move strategically how to get stuff done so I'm not coming to you but you can't take everything to heart so personal that I'm doing something. I love my wife.
But if
And if I didn't love you, I wouldn't be married to you. But I didn't get married to be, fighting, and I didn't get married to be in no straitjacket. You gotta let me trust me that I ain't doing nothing, I ain't going nowhere. I'm just trying to figure things out. And that don't happen all the time.
But there's a way to express it without you trying to tell me I'm crazy. Because you'll just make me feel like, like you just said, I don't know what's going on in your head. I don't know what but I come to you and I ask you. If I'm asking, babe, I see that you moving different. I see what's wrong. You walking around like you upset about something. I watch your body language and I ask you, how can I help? What can I do? Even if you say there's nothing I can do, I still be looking and I'm watching and I'm saying, okay, now you're making me feel some type of way, because if you're saying there's nothing wrong, if you're saying there's nothing that I need to be doing different, if you're saying there's nothing that I can do to help you, then you're saying you're okay, that everything is okay. But if I'm still watching your actions and your actions are telling me something different, and now I'm starting to think different because I keep asking you and you ain't telling me nothing.
I can't control how you think about things, because in the interim, then I'm not being true to what I'm thinking. A lot of times what I'm thinking has nothing to do with you. Has nothing. Most of the time, and I've said this, I'm being because I miss my family. I don't interact. That's why I do the thank God for what is that? FaceTime. Because You know, that's why I talk to them as much as I do. That's why whenever I do get a chance to see them or they come, it's a big deal for me because I'm super duper excited. So and sometimes because I miss my daddy, I miss my mama, you know. So and that's nothing on you.
Right.
That's just, you know, would my daddy be proud of me? Would my mama be proud of me? So it ain't, sometimes it ain't got nothing to do with you.
And
Sometimes you have to allow me to be me without thinking me is gonna harm us.
I wholeheartedly understand that. I just am asking you, when I am asking you, because I do it all the time, when I'm asking you, babe, are you okay? Is there something, you know, going on that, you know, what's wrong? Like, be honest and say, babe, it's nothing that has anything to do with you right now. I'm just in my feelings. I'm missing my family. Like, say that, just like you just said it just now. Tell me that then instead of saying nothing. Because if you say it, then I know, okay, that's why he's walking around, you know, doing ABC, or that's why he's leaving the house like that,
It's
because
it's
he
no-
just needs that time, whatever. But if you keep telling me ain't nothing wrong, you good, no, you all right,
It's
everything,
noted- it's-
then what I'm supposed to?
It's noted men communicate different for women. That's a phenomenon. If you ask me, men communicate headline, women communicate final. You ask me how was my day, I'm gonna say straight, all right, cool, good.
When you actually had a bad day.
It don't matter what, it could be bad, good, you know, eventful, done eventful. It was straight, it was all right. That's just the way we communicate. If I ask you how your day was, or a woman, for the most part, you're gonna tell us from the time you woke up, how your stomach was hurting, then you went in there to try to find something to eat and you didn't find no eggs, and do you know somebody left the water on, and you know, you done went through all that. But that's just the way people women and men communicate. And I'm okay with it because I have to sit there many days, and you know that because I sit there and listen and sometimes fall asleep in the chair. Are you listening to me? Yeah, I'm listening. Because that's the way, and I'm mentally tired because of what, not you here, but I'm just all that I have to do. So and then not to mention, you know, like I told you several times, being on this medicine, being a diabetic, it wears on you. It wears on me. You gotta take a pill for this. I'm just so
Okay.
peeled out. So sometimes I'm trying to keep a level head of, you know, let me just, cause I'm home now. And this is why I come home.
I
I'm
understand
home.
all of that.
I'm
That's
home
still,
at a place
all
of
I'm saying
security.
to you is,
See, now let me finish.
I know,
See,
but what I'm
see,
saying,
now let
because
me
I
finish.
just need you to get to the point that we're trying to make.
See the
It's-
point she's trying to make. See,
No,
now she
for real.
invalidating how I feel
I'm
because
not
she wants to
invalidating
hear.
it.
She wants to hear her way of saying stuff.
All I'm saying is, when I bring you my feelings,
I'll try to do better, dear.
thank you, I appreciate that.
Now, will you do better about
I
listening?
will do better about trying to
and not
listen,
all
about
this
listening.
and all them gestures and 10 and out your head. When you
Listen.
you got a list to do better by too.
Okay, I will do better about not
All of that.
not being so theatrical when
And
I'm
so
talking
dramatic,
to you and use.
and so
I can't help it
tense.
that I use my hands and that I talk loud. A lot of times
Yeah.
I'm just talking.
But I don't need you
That's
to talk
just
loud.
me. It's not.
I
I'm
don't-
not yelling.
You
I'm
talking
just
about-
talking
hold on.
loud.
You want me to change? You got to change some of
Okay,
that
I
stuff,
will
too.
work on it.
That's all.
But when I bring you my feelings, I want you to address my feelings and not turn my feelings into your stuff, because that's not what it's about. That is our biggest thing, because we seem to be able to communicate fine when it comes to everything else. So I'm just asking
You
you
have some
to,
things planned for my brother and sister-in-law when they come.
that ain't got nothing to do with this conversation.
That's my feelings. I want to
That's
see.
not has nothing to do with feelings. You just interrupted our whole segment to ask
But
me
I-
a question about
because
when somebody come, whatever. So basically, you just gonna ignore that I'm talking about something important.
that
To
ain't
ask
important.
me something that might be important to you, but it's not. This is not the
So
time to
you-
talk. So see how you took my segment and turning it into something else.
Oh,
No,
Lord,
we
John,
can't do
Jesus.
that. I need you to stay focused.
Come on, the
Stay
game
focused. Okay, we get ready to go watch basketball. But anyway, all right. So I hope you guys who are out there listening can give us some tips, because as you can see, when it comes to this area of communicating right here, we still have a lot of work to do. And we welcome all kind of wise counsel from people who can help us, give us some tips, some strategies on how to better communicate with each other, how to effectively listen. He says I don't effectively listen. I will try not to be so theatrical and not use my hands as much. I will try to watch my octane so that I'm not so loud, because every time I'm loud, he thinks that's yelling, which I don't think they're the same. I just happen to talk loud. I can stand in a room and I don't need a mic. I can just talk and everybody can hear me because that's just me. But he looks at that as yelling. But anyway, I'm going to work on it.
See how you invalidate my feelings?
I didn't invalidate your feelings. All I said was that I just talk very loud and you look at it as yelling. That's not to say that I don't.
So in other words,
I'm
what you're
invalidating
saying,
your feelings.
in other words, what you're saying is that's not the way it really is, because you don't mean to come across like that.
Okay, whatever.
I'm
so
asking.
He's trying to
I'm asking.
listen.
I'm asking.
Whatever. We both agree we're going to work on
See?
some things when it comes to communicating. I'm going to work on it. He's going to work on it. But we can use whatever help you guys can give us on how to communicate with one another effectively. Effectively. Because communication is more than just talking. Communication is also listening, and it is also comprehending, and it is also implementing something. After you have heard, you must do something to make sure that the person understands that you heard them. Whether it's a changed behavior, whether it's, changing the narrative, whatever it is, something has to happen. So anyway, we thank you guys for joining us for this week's Mouth Muscle, because he always say I'm yelling, and we kind of disagree on some things when we're communicating, but nevertheless, we're going to work on it. He agreed, I agree, we're going to work on it. So we love you guys. Thank you for joining us. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video so that we can be a blessing to someone else. All right, we'll see you guys next time. Enjoy the rest of your evening. That's why I gotta figure out a way to